So I watched Deadly Class, and here's what I thought. So for Deadly Class, I picked this one in one of my watch lists, and it was to watch a show from a free streaming service. I checked out IMDb TV, and I saw Deadly Class was on there. I was interested in the show when it first came out. I only saw the first 2 episodes then, but it ended up getting canceled after 1 season. When I saw on IMDb, I really wanted to check it out again. Another reason I wanted to check this out was because Lana Condor was in it. I loved her in To All the Boys I Loved Before, and this would be a completely different role we would see her in, and I'm excited to see how she would do. Okay, general synopsis. Deadly Class is a show that is set in the 1980s and based on a graphic novel. The story takes place at a school where different crime families send their children to learn the deadly arts. The main character, Marcus, is recruited to come to the school based on his reputation. It turns out the reputation he acquired is not really his. In the show, we see a group of students get in some trouble, and they have to work together to try to fix the mess they made. So yeah, that's the general synopsis of the TV show, so if that interests you, definitely go check it out. But we will now be getting into spoilers. You can turn back now, but I am letting you know that you have been warned. Okay, as I said before, this show is set in a school for learning the deadly arts. They learn about combat and poisons. There are students here from every sort of crime family. There are assassins, gangs, cartel, mafia, and more. Even though some of their families are enemies, the school is made to be a safe place where no conflict between families should be settled. So one rule that they do have is that the students cannot kill each other. That's a great rule. Even though some of the groups may be in conflict with one another in the school, but the students are not allowed to take out their vengeance or try to settle anything and bring that into the school atmosphere. So Marcus, our main character in the show, when we see him originally, he is homeless actually. His home burned down I believe his orphanage burned down that he was in along with all the boys that were in it. And that is how he ends up getting recruited to come to the school. The headmaster enlists a group of students to convince Marcus to enroll in the school. They heard about his reputation and they believe that he would be a great addition to the school. So basically, Marcus's reputation is that he was the guy that burned down the orphanage and killed all these boys that were in it. So his name is in the papers. He's kind of wanted for murder, and the school thinks that he is the guy that did this. So they want to recruit him to the school to learn the deadly arts because they think he's a perfect candidate. So as they try to enlist him, Marcus really isn't on board for this. He thinks all these people are crazy and he doesn't want to be a part of the school. Eventually, as days go on, he realizes he has nowhere else to go and he doesn't want to continue to be living on the streets. So Marcus eventually agrees to join the school and learn the deadly arts. And he does have some things he would like to use to benefit him in the future on learning these skills. So that's another reason he does agree to join the school. But no one really knows Marcus' secret, that the reputation he has isn't really his. It turns out he did escape from the orphanage, but he wasn't the one to burn it down. And unfortunately, that's not what the newspapers think. They printed his name on the cover, so now everyone thinks he is a murderer. His roommate at the time he was in the orphanage, Chester, is actually the one who set the fire. And then when Chester finds out that Marcus is the one who has his name in all the papers, he gets really upset because he wants to be the one that is famous for what happened to the orphanage. And he decides that he needs to find Marcus and to set things straight. So yeah, this sounds like a great basis for the TV show, right? Like, sounds great. We have a roommate that's like angry that he's not getting the story. We have Marcus who's like, okay, don't want to be on the streets. I want to be somewhere where I belong, have a place to be. You know, he doesn't want to be alone anymore. So that's where we are right now. So in the show, we have a bunch of characters. The ones that kind of make up the main cast, I see the most. Hopefully I don't miss anybody. It's Marcus, Saya, Willie, Maria, Billy, Chico, Petra, and Lex. So these are the people we see, I believe we see the most in the TV show. So let's get back to Marcus. So Marcus has agreed to come to the school. You know, he doesn't want to be homeless anymore. It's not exactly the great story he thought it would be. So Marcus doesn't fit in when he gets to the school since he isn't from one of these famous crime families. He is an orphan and he just happened to be recruited. he's kind of ostracized. And he's considered in this school a rat. So he hangs out with all the other students who are considered rats in school. They are all kind of misfits. They don't have any official group or famous family that they come from. So they kind of all stick together since they don't have a famous particular group. They're not part of a mafia or a cartel group or anything like that. So it's just them. But while Marcus is getting through to school, he does try to hide his secret that he is not a killer. But the more we see Marcus in this school, it seems like he does actually belong there, which is kind of scary to me, that because the audience knows his secret, that he's not the one that's the orphanage. But as he's going to school and doing assignments, he kind of has the skill for this, and to me it's coming a little bit more naturally to him. One of the assignments he has is he's supposed to kill someone that deserves it. He does end up finishing this assignment and doing it, and that's, I guess, like, he does kill someone, and it is someone who deserves to be killed, but the fact that he could do it and other people in his class couldn't, that come from these families, is wild to me. And when you see him in his other classes, he kind of thinks differently than some of the other students. For some reason, he thinks it looks like he thinks outside the box, and that may be a reason because he didn't grow up in this kind of world, in this atmosphere, that he brings something else to the table. But I think it makes him a bigger threat than people or even he himself realizes. And of course, Marcus has an enemy in school, and it honestly started since the first day he got there, and that enemy is Chico. So Chico doesn't like Marcus because his girlfriend Maria, Chico's girlfriend Maria, comes up to Marcus and makes a move on him, and then Chico doesn't like that. He wanted to beat up Marcus and all this stuff, basically because Maria would just be starting drama everywhere she go. But somehow Maria and Marcus, I don't know, keep gravitating towards, they don't do anything, but they keep gravitating towards each other, and Chico doesn't like that. And anytime Chico gets a chance to, take it out on Marcus or put him in his place, he does. Where I think the show takes a turn is when some of the students decide to go to Vegas. While in Vegas, Maria and Marcus end up making out and getting a little too cozy together. And of course, while they're there, Chico was following them, and he finds them together in bed. And I'm like, Marcus, why? Like, this girl is, she has this crazy boyfriend. And I'm like, dude. But, Chico finds Marcus and Maria in bed, and he lost it. He's like, no, this dude's gonna die. There's no way he's gonna be kissing all up on my woman and live. So Chico starts beating up on him, and Maria's trying to get him to stop. Like, the other students are like, stop, Chico, stop. We can't kill other students. Like, he's like, and then Chico's like, I don't care. This dude's gonna die. And he is not giving up. They really try to stop him. He's not giving up. And then Maria finally makes the sacrifice, and she kills Chico. I think they hear sirens or something because the students end up leaving his body there and running away from the scene. But who does find Chico? And it's Chester, the lovely roommate of Marcus from the orphanage. It couldn't be a worse person to find this body. But honestly, after this episode, or during this episode, there were interesting things that happened, but I feel like this is the point where I began to become less interested in the show for some reason. I don't know. It just wasn't it wasn't capturing my attention like it did at the very beginning. So after this whole trip and Chico dies, things start to change. These group of students have to cover this up because no one can know what happened to Chico. So when they get back, Marcus and Maria kind of start secretly dating. Maria is Chico's boyfriend, and his father's like task Maria to helping find the killer because he don't know it her, but he's like, oh, this girl loves my son. She's gonna help us find the person that killed him. So that's going on. So there's secrets and lies going on everywhere. And then something else that happens is that Marcus's ex-roommate Chester begins killing people because he wants to be that famous guy known in the newspapers. So he wants to get his name out there and wants people to know who he is. And he also has Chico, so he can get Maria and the rest of the group that was in Vegas in trouble. Marcus ends up telling some of his friends, and they all work together to try to stop this guy so nothing gets out. So while they're planning on stopping Chester, Marcus gets a little close with Saya, and things happen, and they sleep together. So he ends up cheating on Maria. And I'm just sitting here like, why does everyone want this dude Marcus? I'm just like, why? What scent is he giving off? The ladies are like, yes, I want him. But Marcus is secretly dating Maria, and Saya knows this because Maria and Saya are roommates, and they're also really good friends. But then he ends up cheating on her with Saya. Like, Saya and Maria's relationship has been rocky recently since the death of Chico and Maria murdering him and all this stuff. But does that give you an excuse? No, that's not an excuse. I'm just like, Saya, sleeping with your best friend's man, and then like over here, Marcus really sleeping with your girl's best friend. Like, both of them are wrong, and Maria killed her ex. She gonna kill both y'all. See, a lot of things are happening. They're trying to go after Chester. Marcus ends up sleeping with Saya. There's drama going on at the school with the headmaster and his sister. Tons of lies, tons of secrets, all this stuff. So in the end, the show ends with some cliffhangers. Definitely intriguing, but I don't know, it didn't keep me intrigued enough to want to see another season. I apologize. I was really excited for this show, but I just wasn't feeling it. I do think that there are people out there that would love this show, but I think it just wasn't for me. There were some things I liked about it, some things I really didn't. The whole like Chester talking to Chico's head was weird. So this is based off a graphic novel. So when they're showing like backstories of each character, so when they show the backstories of characters, kind of like their origin or what happened to them before they got to this school, they kind of show it in like a cartoon way. So it looks like it's coming from the actual graphic novel, which I thought was pretty cool. But there's just some things in this show I don't know. I feel like Chester's character really creeped me out. Maybe I just couldn't get on board with his character and some of the things his character did. So maybe that's why it wasn't the show for me. I think a combination of things. Certain things I didn't like about the show or certain characters, and that's why I didn't love it. But overall, my rating for this show would be 2.5 stars. I was close to giving it a 3, but I just didn't like the show. I thought it was okay. And usually an okay for me is a 2. But I thought it was like, okay and more. So that's why I gave it 2.5. I just didn't love it. It was okay. Like, it was an okay show. I do think if more of the right audience saw the show, it could have been really, really great, really good for the show, and could have moved on to more seasons. But maybe just the right people weren't seeing it, and maybe the people that were seeing it, maybe they're similar to me, that it just wasn't for them. But I do think this show has aspects of a great show, and I think there is an audience out there for this show. It's just I wasn't that audience. And I'm just sad about that because I was really excited for it. I had Lana Condor, and I was like, ooh, this looks great. Like a bunch of crime families send their students to school to learn basically how to kill people. So I thought that was awesome. But I don't know. Maybe the graphic novel's better. But for me, this wasn't it. Okay, so that is what I thought about Deadly Class. I didn't really go into too much detail with this TV show as I do with others. I kind of wanted to leave it. If you guys are interested, go watch it, not give too much away. But, if this sounds like something you would enjoy, I would definitely suggest go watching it. I think I would suggest this to people if I knew they liked a certain type of show, or might be something they're interested in. I would suggest it to people. I just think for me, I just didn't love it. I didn't like it that much. But if you have seen Deadly Class, what did you think about it? Did you like it? Did you not like it? If you guys are interested in some more TV content, definitely check out my website below. If there's any reviews or anything else that's not on here on the channel, you'll probably find something there. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, week, month, and hopefully a good rest of your year. And until next time, bye.